going on? This is my weekly trade review from days March 15th to March 20th. On Monday, I took this trade to win $500 on the evaluation account. It was an A+ setup for me. I had an S&T divergence, inverse fair value gap, quick displacement, and then as you see, I entered, and pretty much the second I entered, we were in profit all the way up here where I took profit for a nice 1 to 2. Here's the trade that I took on Wednesday because I did not take any trades on Tuesday. Here's the first trade that I took on Wednesday, which I lost about $300 on. As you can see, I was stopped out very quick here. It was a C setup, and I was just looking for some displacement down to these lows. So this setup, it had equal highs, which is a mistake, but it didn't really have a resweep. All it did was in a fair value gap, it had quick displacement, so I entered. Unfortunately, we went up, inverse this. We actually made an S&T divergence on NQ at these highs, sweeping. So the real trade would have been right about here, anywhere around here with the stop at the highs, just targeting the lows. So we were just too early for that because it was a C setup. I should have waited a little bit longer and it would have been an A+ setup. Here's the trade I took during FOMC. As you can see, it wasn't that great of a trade. I mean, I had an S&T divergence and an inverse fair value gap on the 1 minute, but overall time frame was very bearish and there was no change in the state of delivery. So yeah. Here's the trade that I took on Thursday. It was a very good trade, A+ setup. S&T divergence, sweeping, inverse fair value gap, change in the state of delivery, had displacement within 2 candles. It had everything for an A+ setup. So as you see, I entered right here and then it went to take profit. Here's the trade that I took today, which is Friday. I saw an S&T divergence off of a fair value gap and then a change in the state of delivery. The main problem with this one is that if I did want to take this trade, it would have had to have been lower time frame, which I didn't do. So this is the trade that I took on screen when in reality, this is the trade I should have taken targeting the 1 to 2. But that is a very low time frame trade against the trend. Should have seen the higher time frame was bearish and understood that even though we bounced off this gap, the higher time frame fair value gap holds more power. And then we respected it already and we tapped back into it and then we immediately rejected off of it. I should have realized that it was a continuation and taken the continuation down to these lows, but that is a mistake that I made there. For the first loss, I took a C setup. This was a fair value gap reversal. For fair value gap reversals, it has to be A or A+. That's how I fixed the problem because fair value gap reversals are a little bit trickier than low or high reversals. Okay, second loss, which just didn't follow my rules. Self-control, pretty self-explanatory. And then the third loss was I took a B setup. So it's the same thing as the first trade. So those are the huge lessons which I learned this week, and we'll see how I do next week. Here are all the TradeZella stats for this current evaluation account. So we go down here, this is the week. You can see win on Monday, loss, 2 losses on Wednesday, a win on Thursday, and unfortunately a loss today, which is Friday. We are up 305 on the week, so second positive week on the evaluation account, which is good. All 3 losses could have been avoided this week if I had just waited and taken higher quality setups. So going into this next week, I am 846 on the account. So if I get one more big trade or one more win or an A+ setup, then I will pass the evaluation phase and finally get funded. So going into this next week, I will be taking A+ setups.